Hey, moms. So, this is a project, a test, an experiment, let's call it. If you're ever feeling like you are just not getting it, something is happening, you're meant to be this adult and figure things out, and you're responsible for humans, for other humans, little humans in your life, and it seems like everything is falling apart around you. Whether you seemingly have the perfect life or whether everything around you literally just fell apart, you're in the right place. I'm here to take you from mess to mastery. I'm here to teach you everything that you need to know about getting to know you and increasing your consciousness. And then, because of that, knowing how to lead your life, how to take your life forward in the direction you want to take it by learning all the things that I'm going to teach you. So, today is the first ever recording that I'm doing for this subject. And the reason I decided to do this, and the reason I decided to go ahead and start sharing this information, is that in my life I went from having nothing to having it all, to then feeling like I'm about to lose everything, and to losing everything, and to then building it up again. And I know how tough it is when you feel like things about around you just feel like you're living in some sort of a, I don't know, a strange place, like you're living in a dream, but it's like it's a funny dream because things happen the exact opposite way to where you want them to, or things happen amazingly for everyone around you and you are just not getting it. It feels like, you're meant to be this adult, but you actually feel like a kid who hasn't figured everything out. I mean, if you're feeling like this, stay, keep listening, because all of this really comes from people trying to live who they are not, because they're trying to fit in and learn from the people who are teaching, and they're teaching great stuff. And people who are really, really successful learning the stuff from them are the people who are like them. Now, what's really important is to learn about you, who you are, how you're made up, and live your life from that. What I mean by that is whether it's being able to organize your time, like plan, have momentum, time manage. I'm sure people try so many different things. Like as a mom, I'm sure you're always running around and trying to figure things out, right? And a degree of that happens because kids are there, right? Kids in our life will absolutely make you feel like you're losing it most of the time. But we don't have to feel like we've lost our mind or we've lost our head. But what we need to know is to, first of all, get to know ourselves, allow ourselves to be who we are, know that certain things are normal. And when we allow that, things feel normal, right? But we can also learn ways and techniques and methods on how we can make our life the best life possible. And then that way we go from mess to mastery in no time, because we suddenly master our lives. But we've got to figure out that switch point. And to me, having done so much learning from the best of the best, working and paying tons and tons of money to people in times where I didn't even have the money to pay for my basics, right? Because I was so desperate to learn about myself. Because I was like, this is not right. Like, this is not how life looks. This is not what life should be like. Life should be more joyful. Life should be happier. Life should be like sunny. And if you're up for that, I mean, if you want to be like in a dark cave and sad and whatever, just don't watch it. But if you really want to have a happy, excited life and you want to lead your kids that way as well, then keep listening, because all I want to teach you is all those things I learned about what influences me and my behavior, and how my setup, so the way I've been constructed before birth, in life, and then some of my character and how I've been put together by the people around me, like parents, schooling, and so on, how that influenced me, and how that also influences that life might feel amazing or might feel really, really bad. So, where do I start? I start with knowing yourself. So we're all made up of different things, and we often learn that there are ways to get to know ourselves, like, for example, personality tests, or that there are things that are set in the stars that, like, it's just the way it is. You're not going to change it, right? And so I see those as two different types of things. One is your setup, how you're made up, what you are, and what's going to make your life easier if you follow your path. And then the other thing is your personality. And that's often the makeup of the way you've been conditioned by life, or the way you learned to live because of what's been happening, right? So the things that are different are that sometimes we think that, like, we want to believe someone who shares with us that this is it, this is you, and nothing can change it. Now, everything in life can change, okay? Don't ever listen to anyone who says that's you and that's it. No. However, take into account how you've been made up, how you've been set up, how you are designed in your life, because knowing that can help you make the right decisions, take the right action, find the most balanced way to lead your life, to teach your kids, to get on with your kids. Like, wouldn't you want to have the most amazing relationship with your kids while also making sure that they listen to you and they are learning your lessons, and at the same time you know that you're the most amazing mom, right? Every mother wants that, I think. I mean, if you don't, tell me, because I really want to know why. But I think every mom wants that, right? So to learn to know that is really important. The second thing is those personality traits and those things that we learn because we've been conditioned to something. So, for example, if you've been in the army, you're going to learn to react and act and be in a certain way, right? If you studied to be a doctor, you're going to learn to have a very specific way of being. If you were in the police, you're going to learn a very specific conduct. If you worked in a corporation, you're going to learn to act in a certain way. That's because of the culture, because of the way it's been, and so on. So what I really want to talk to you about is those two things first, because the way you are designed and the way you learn about yourself is going to guide who you are, how you behave, what you do, what decisions you make, and then the outcomes of those decisions. So, for example, some of the key things that I use for knowing myself and from that guiding how I act and who I am and how I love myself are some of the very, very few basics, like my human design, for example. Human design is something that was, let me just say it right. Human design is something that a guy who was a Canadian guy, and at the time he worked in some sort of a corporate job, experienced while on a trip to Europe. And he experienced a channeled message that told him how humans are made up, what are the categories of how we're made up, how we make decisions, how we digest information, how we what's the best for us to eat, what's the best way for us to be as the person, the best way of decision making, the best way of conducting yourself, what helps, what hinders, what are the best types of people to work with us, what are the people who shouldn't, how do we understand other people, and so on, right? And so based on that, he then taught others about themselves. And so I'm using this is one of the main things that I'm using for myself. And for example, if I'm using this right, if I'm using the setup right, I'm going to know exactly how to make money. I'm going to know exactly how to talk to my kids. I'm going to know exactly how to take care of my fitness and health. I'm going to know exactly why I might not be greatest with goal setting and following a structured way. I might know why I could achieve so much more than so many others if I just don't follow the goal setting structure, for example, right? These are all very, very important things. This is human design. This is super important. DISC and motivators is another really, really great profile that I love, absolutely love. And that's something that talks more about our character. And it's a little bit of this is how we are, but also a little bit of this is how we've been conditioned. It talks about how we act in certain ways, what motivates us, what drives us, and so on. Then there are other things that I understand and I use to make sure that I can have the most amazing experience in life, and I can help my kids have the most amazing experience too. So one of those is human needs, our human needs, and understanding what drives me. How am I driven, and how do I fulfill those needs? So we're all driven by 6 needs, and within those, some of them take bigger priority, some of them smaller, even though we are generally guided and we want all of them to be something that we want to meet. All those needs are to be met, and we want to find the most amazing ways of meeting those needs. The other thing that I'm using to learn myself and others is the love languages. So the 5 love languages, which is Dr. Gary Chapman, and his amazing book and information on love languages and how people receive and give love. And by love, I mean appreciation, I mean actual love. This might be like intimate partner, as well as parent, child, as well as co-workers, as well as friends, in so many different ways. And understanding how we are when we show love to others or appreciation, and when we receive that, is a game changer, because understanding that about your kids will make you express to them very differently and make you understand how they feel and how they express it to you as well very differently, right? The other thing that I really, really love is the elements, the 5 elements that we are made up of, because we're all made up of all of those elements, but some of them take a bigger priority, which also means that we know what triggers us, what makes us feel in flow, what makes us angry and go into the low vibrational states. And from there, obviously, we know not much can be created and helped, and what really helps and stimulates us, what to be careful with, how to act with people who are the different elements. And so knowing these, I think these are like the key stuff that I use. Knowing this stuff really helps you, understand your kid, understand the people around you, your family, for example, or anyone who's working with you or for you. And it also helps you guide your decision-making processes and your interaction with those others. Okay, so this is also why some technical and tactical courses and learnings that you take might not work for you. Why you learn it and then you go, okay, I'm applying it, but it doesn't work, right? You might apply that for your parenting techniques, for example. And if it's your parenting techniques, if it's like your kid doesn't listen to you, right? They spend all their time on the screen, for example, or whatever. Knowing this information can absolutely massively help you with understanding and acting better with them. And so the goal for everyone is always to have the most amazing smooth life. And when you think about your kids, wouldn't you want to have the most outstanding relationship, the most amazing way of being, the most absolutely amazing, outstanding way of communicating with them, so that you and them can know when to interact, when to leave each other alone, when important things happen and you absolutely need to discuss them or make decisions on things, when to do that, to make it easy for everyone. Like, I want life to be easy, right? And so if you want the same, this is what you're going to want to learn about. So I'm going to keep adding videos. So if this is interesting to you, just please find more of my videos and you will learn there. As I'm creating this, I'm going to find ways of structuring this information so that you can learn as fast as possible in the best way possible. And you really can take your life on the amazing track from mess to mastery. And so just keep following, be patient with me, and hopefully that's something that helps you too.